Because in the body where we were in Lonavala, there used to be so much water collected on the ground. Unless you poke, the ball would not move. So you have to be really good at poking and run, poke and run, poke and run.
My mentor in FPG is a Peter.
And many years after he finished from here, we had a colleges also. He's down.
For giving me this opportunity. First of all, welcome to all the sports journalists and the stalwarts of hockey who are present over here. I don't want to take anyone's name, but it's an honor and privilege that you have come here to Don Bosco High School, Matunga. We are very happy that we could have, in fact, this place that you are at present was in shambles in the month of June when the rains began and the whole false ceiling had come down because water seeped in. There was construction work going on. And we just managed to renovate it and get it ready. And this is the first event that we are having in this renovated hall. So, I really hope that it's a good omen, not only to us, but also to the hockey team who is going to start their World Cup tournament. Yeah. So, we are very passionate about sports over here in Don Bosco's. I'm sure you're aware of that. So, anything to do with any sport, it's always welcome. And thank you for all the hard work that you have been doing, reporting for all the sports for so many years now. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Hello everyone and welcome to a very special evening on Indian hockey. It's been almost half a century, 48 years to be precise, since India lifted the Hockey World Cup last. The tournament's been held for 14 times since 1971. Just a brief background, Pakistan have won it 4 times, while Holland and Australia have won it thrice. Germany have won twice, and of course Belgium are the defending champions, having won in Odisha the last time. Indian hockey has somehow, if I may say so, flattered to deceive over the years, with the team failing to reach even a single World Cup semi-final since the 75 victory. But the 2021 Olympics bronze medal and Team India's top 5-6 ranking in the recent past has made things very interesting. And that's what makes this 15th edition of the Hockey World Cup very special. 16 teams will battle for top honors. But before that, we are very honored to be in the company of 3 very special hockey stalwarts. I'll invite them up on stage and please give a big hand as I call their names out. First, would be Mr. Somaya, the 1980 Moscow Olympics gold medal team member and two-time World Cup. Please, thank you. We have next Edgar Mascarenhas Sr, a 1990 World Cupper, over 90 internationals, and then running a very successful fitness business. So that's an interesting thing again. And last but not least, our very own Adrian D'Souza, two-time World Cupper again, fantastic goalkeeper. So we'll begin like this. We'll ask our guests to share their World Cup experiences, and then we'll move on to the Indian team and their prospects. And finally, take a quick round of predictions and what they think the Indian team will achieve in Odisha, and open the floor out after that for a couple of questions from the audience. Hopefully, you guys will have a few popping up in the mind. Before that, I'd like to also thank Rourkela for making it in their goalkeeper reserve. And of course, Marg Patel, who's been the stalwart behind all the players in Mumbai hockey. Thank you, guys. Without further ado, could you please share with us what it was like to play the 82 World Cup in Mumbai?
Well, good evening. Can you hear me?
Good evening.
Yes. Not
First of all, thank you to the Sports Journalists Association of Mumbai for having this. Wonderful to meet all the old friends. Speak about hockey. Nice to have our academy children. We have an academy here that runs after school hours, and also the school children. Don Bosco is one of the best hockey teams. So, welcome to all the youngsters. I hope you'll benefit from this discussion. Ashwin, you raked up the past, and you're probably, stirring up old wounds. But 82 was a wonderful experience because we came closest to the semis. We were playing Australia in the last match here in Mumbai. The World Cup was in Mumbai in 82. And we required a draw in the last match. And we were 1-1. And in the last few minutes, Hazel has scored a goal. So it was probably over the last few years, one of the times that we came closest to making the semis. Wonderful team. I think we had the top scorer of the tournament from India at that time. He was the top scorer in the entire World Cup. Rajinder Singh Sr. He had 12 goals, and that was some solace that we had. The experience in 86 is not much to write home, but I'd like to highlight one point. The Asian Games was held in Korea, in Seoul, and somehow because of some faulty scheduling, the World Cup in London was to start in 4 days' time, 4 or 5 days. So both India and Pakistan had to travel from Seoul to London and play a match in the World Cup within 4 or 5 days. So you could, and today if you see, there should be a gap of at least 2-3 months. So it is little wonder then that both of us were fighting for the 11th and 12th place, because not many people remember that. But, sorry? Yeah, Wilsden. But the tournament of Asian Games, which is a very tough tournament, was in Seoul, and both the teams travelled all the way to London to play. So probably that's one of the things. But again, the solace there was Mohammad Shahid, who was a inside left, a mercurial player. Most of you old timers may remember. He was adjudged the player of the tournament. So probably some solace in that. So wonderful experience. We had some great teams and great colleagues.
I was coming to Shahid, but I think you answered that. I think many of our youngsters will not know much about Shahid. Can you just share some light on him as a player, as a teammate, as a colleague?
Mohammad Shahid, along with Mervyn Fernandes and me, we played 3 Olympics together, 1980, 84 and 88. And Mohammad Shahid, with that forward line, these were the 3 of our Mohammad Shahid, Mervyn Fernandes and Zafar Iqbal. So this was a fantastic combination. I think people who've seen hockey in the 80s don't remember all of us because we were somewhere in the background. But Shahid in particular was a gifted player. You know, he had wonderful stick work. In a small area of say 4 or 5 yards, he could dodge 2 or 3 Europeans, and they would be probably even falling backwards. He was so adept at the dribble. So he's a once in a lifetime player, if you may call him that. And it was an honor to play with both Mervyn and Shahid in all the 3 Olympic Games.
Thank you. We'll move on to Edgar. Edgar has some interesting stories about the 1990 Lahore World Cup. I think there was some India-Pak tension that time. Please, Edgar, floor is yours.
Before I go to 1992, I was a ball boy for your World Cup. Nobody knows this. 1982, so it was in Bombay, and I was a ball boy chosen from Don Bosco High School at that time.
Okay.
Yeah, so the ball boys were chosen from the best schools, 5 from each school. So I was on the side.
And the Wankedi.
Wankedi and BHS. Okay, 1990, a very eventful year actually. We did quite badly. We finished 11th. I think one of the worst performances of an Indian team at the World Cup. But there was a lot happening in 1990. If you remember, tensions between India and Pakistan were at its height. And I clearly remember, so when we landed, when the aeroplane landed on the tarmac, Lahore airport, and we are going and suddenly we see all these, sirens, and so we were escorted into a remote kind of an area, got down from there and went straight away from an exit because there was a protest outside. So our bags were given to us at the airport. We were actually, to be honest, under house arrest because each of us in our room, Jude was my roommate. We had 2 guys with bodyguards we had, and we couldn't leave the hotel because the threat at that time was very. I don't know if you remember, 1990 was a height of all the tensions. Anyway, having said that, so we played the tournament. Mentally, we were quite in a bad way actually, because even in the stadium we had a lot of things happening in the background. So we didn't perform very well. And just to give you not a comparison, just before that we played the Asia Cup finals in Delhi, and we lost to Pakistan. Sujit missed a penalty, 2-1. It was about a month before, it was in December, and the Pakistan team was same. The Indian crowd was after them, but after they won the match, they gave them a standing ovation. The Indian public, it was jam-packed stadium, that time National Stadium. So then when we went to Pakistan, it was a totally, I saw something I have never seen in my life, and it was quite tense actually to play that tournament. And we managed whatever we did, and we didn't do very well actually. So that was my experience. Yeah.
But were you afraid? Was it a threat to life? Did you experience the threat to life as such, or?
No, they were excellent. They looked after the team. I mean, they went beyond. The Pakistanis went beyond whatever they could do for us to make us feel comfortable. But it just was the tension in that was at that time was very high. So we couldn't leave the hotel. We had to just go to the ground, come back. We couldn't practice.
So even training was behind closed doors, no spectators to watch.
Kind of. We hardly trained because we couldn't go to train.
Oh.
Yeah. Stretching in the hotel. So that was 1990. Quite an experience, I must say.
Thanks, Edgar. We'll move on to Adrian. Adrian, what was it like standing under the bar at Monsoon Catback first, and then of course Delhi?
Well, good evening, everybody, and Happy New Year. Hopefully, the Indian team by the end of this month will be with the long-awaited trophy. That's where we are. I think that's why we are here today. But after hearing Somaya sir and Edgar, well, today I got down at King Circle. It's been a while since I took a train towards this side, and this was actually the place where Mr. Bawa found me in Khalsa College, and that's where dreams turned into reality. So we took our own sweet time today from the station to here, and the only difference is I didn't have a kit bag. I used to carry my kit bag, and Suraj is the lucky one who has a wheel nowadays in their kit bag, but we didn't have it. But I still remember in 2006 World Cup for Mönchengladbach, that was the first time the federation had given us a break for around 10 days or 2 weeks. And prior to that, we have never experienced a break. It was always a camp, you're selected and you go for a tour. So you never get to go home. So this time they decided, okay, we are going to give the freedom that everybody gets to go home, and everybody were happy obviously because you're getting to meet your loved ones. The unfortunate part was, I still remember taking my flight from Bombay to Delhi, and we landed at about 9 or 10 in the morning, and the first thing you read in the news is Sandeep Singh is shot. So we had to go into a tournament trying to figure it out because you know how it works. Was he shot on purpose? Was he accidentally shot? Because we couldn't actually believe that it's possible that in a train you can be shot through it made no sense to us. But that's where Raghunath came in, and we had good coaches, Arindar sir and Bhaskaran. Everybody, the bunch was good. We didn't have a great outing in the tournament. We definitely experienced what it is to play in Germany, because Germans back then were a no-go. It's like Australia was beatable more than Germany. That was the way our tournament started. Like all of us and I think after that they stopped giving breaks for a while because it kind of, it overturned the expectations. 2010 World Cup, as most of you all know, how our build-up happened to that tournament. Well, I was in the helm of many situations, but as a player, I still remember the first match against Pakistan. Everybody were expecting Adrian versus Sohail Abbas. Everybody, including me. So everybody thought that, okay, Adrian is going to start. I still remember all the media and the journalists.
So most of the hockey preview copies were Adrian versus.
Yeah, and on the match day, she just showed up. So both of us being roommates, we ourselves were we were not nervous, but we were just puzzled by Blasta's decision, but I think it was the right one. Back then, as a player, as a goalkeeper, definitely you want to play. It's like the World Cup. It's in Delhi, but we clinched the first match in such a way that I think that entire aura around New Delhi stadium was fascinating. But what we are going to witness now in Odisha, I think it's more like a magical world. What is happening right now in Rourkela and Bhubaneswar, and anyone over here, I really wish and I really hope that you'll make it for any of the match, especially Father Crispino. Thanks for having us here. But let's hope, and we all, I think, have the same motive and the same wish that India actually wins the World Cup. It's so important. And I'm sure, sir, I have one question. World Cup, during those days, did you all have quarterfinals and semi-finals? It was only semis, right? So 2 pools would be there. So yeah, I think from 2018, if I'm not mistaken, they started the quarterfinal system, in fact, even now. So we all know that there are chances, which would be for us, the 2 World Cups, if you lose, in fact, even the Olympics, if you lose the first 2 games, you knew you were not through. So then it's all about ranking and pride, but right now, the way the system is, it still gives you hope in this World Cup. Even if you come 3rd in the league, in your pool, you still have a chance to win the World Cup. So that's the best part about these few changes that I have witnessed. Forget the rules on the field, but like as a player, Suraj being here, who's presently in the national camp, but like we were just talking about it, like it gives you so much chance that you have hope to qualify. Otherwise, back then, first match you would get Australia, second match Netherlands, then you lose 2 games, and third match you would get the weakest team. But how do you succeed? Because you can't qualify. So that's one great system change that I have seen, and I think and I hope that India does take chances and makes it to the finals.
So I'll just take you back to Mönchengladbach. A lot of late goals we conceded in the tournament. Was that a problem, and why do you think it happened?
One of the biggest changes, and I have to respect the opponents because I used to charge them. In Mönchengladbach, what happened is there were many goals scored by indirect goals. So I have to accept that the opponents were already figured out our ways, in spite of us defending our penalty corners the way we planned. So the direct would always be taken by me. then we'd have Viren, Ignesh, Dilipai, any other first rusher, whoever was there. So that is my personal experience, that we noticed that teams like Germany and the top teams, they kind of overpowered us in the mind game, like in strategies. But the late goals, I think not only in 2006, also in 2010, I think it's been one of the biggest criteria wherever you read in the media, that we always conceded in the dying hours. And our mental strength has been the biggest advantage right now, where we have overpowered those days of conceding in the late, and definitely the 4-quarter, which is making a big difference now.
Thanks, Adrian. I'll put a question to Edgar, because the late conceding of goals be put down to fitness or fatigue or mental toughness or weakness. I think Edgar has run a successful enterprise on fitness. You can answer the question for us. The importance of fitness in modern hockey, Edgar.
So actually fitness, the key in fitness, all the players who are playing every second or third day, is recovery. So in a tournament of this nature, it is the back-end staff, and you'll see the difference in the Olympics, the recent Olympics, we came third. The only difference is the fitness levels. You could see it. The fitness levels were so high, it was because they were recovering fast for the next game. Now the recovery, the guys behind the scene, the team behind the scene, the team behind the team, the physios, the guys working behind, those are the guys who are doing a fantastic job, am I right? Those who are in the camp now. So that has made the difference in what is happening right now. The fitness levels are very high. And scientific training, that is the key. To peak at the right time, to mellow, to get the graph down and then peak at the right time is very important. Scientifically, they are doing a fantastic job, I think. And that's the difference, if you ask me, why the Indian team is ranked number 5 and 6 now. We were always skillful, but we used to fade out during the matches. Physical fitness and mental strength, these are the two. Physical, so when you get physically tired, automatically the mind switches off. So that's the cycle. So the recovery is the key. What they do in that recovery phase is the key. And that's what's the difference now, I think.
A professional backroom staff is what you're saying is important.
Back-end staff, they are the magicians of any team. Ask any player. Not only the coach is strategizing, the guys who are behind.
So it's a lesson for us journalists to understand and next time highlight probably these backroom hard workers by doing our stories, besides the coach and the captain. From conceding goals, we'll go to defending goals. I'll come back to Adrian. Adrian, we have a veteran goalkeeper, a friend of yours in the Indian team, Sujesh, and a youngster in Krishan Parekh. What do you think of this combination at the World Cup?
Back then, it would always be one goalkeeper playing. Unless he has a bad game, then okay, the next goalkeeper is going to get a chance. But what we've been seeing lately, in the last decade, let's say 8 years or so, especially after the 4-quarter rule, that coaches have been giving opportunities to the other goalkeepers, no matter what the consequences. So every goalkeeper would be shuffling every quarter. So even if Srijesh had the best quarter in his life, he knew he was going to be benched for the second quarter.
So is that fair, you think, or?
It's fair in tournaments where you are upgrading your team. It's fair in tournaments where you're building up a stronger team to know the level of the other goalkeeper. Because if you don't try the other goalkeeper and you wait for a bad day by Srijesh, I think that's going to take another 6 years. So how do you know if Krishan Parekh, Suraj Karkera or any other goalkeeper is good in that team? So the only way is like when India went to Australia, Test series, when India had Pro League games. These are the games where you can try out definitions of giving an opportunity. In fact, even in the World Cup, I believe the first 2 games are so important for us that by the time we play Wales, we'll already know where we are going to be in the pool. So that's another place where you can try out between the goalkeepers. I will accept the fact that there is a margin between Srijesh and Krishan Parekh at the moment, which is agreeable to everybody. The amount of matches Srijesh has played, the amount of medals he's got us, he's not only like a player, goalkeeper to me, he's like a younger brother. So watching him win a medal is basically me winning one. So that's how much pride I take in it. But I'm not saying it's depriving of confidence level because you're already ready for it. So even if you know if you had a bad game, bad quarter, you know anyway Krishan Parekh or the other goalkeeper is going to come in. But these are the concepts which are very important. So if tomorrow something happens to the number one goalkeeper, X, Y, Z, or in the World Cup, let's say Srijesh, you know that Krishan Parekh has played before. So you know what you're going to accept, be ready for, unless you're just putting him into the main event without any match experience. And for goalkeepers, it is so important to have match experience. You can be the best goalkeeper in the training camp, but if you have no match experience, and looking at the crowd, what we're going to expect in Rourkela and Bhubaneswar, that's another pressure. Because I experienced that in Delhi, a personal experience. I played the next match against Australia. We lost pretty badly, more like a tennis game. And I was booed, which is acceptable. But there was a penalty stroke which Jamie Dwyer missed. And for that I became a hero, in spite of losing 6-1 at that point of time. So you have to be mentally strong and you have to be ready. So I think it's a very good concept, but where you use it is very important. There should always be this concept of using one goalkeeper.
Yes.
So that's how you have 17 players and one goalkeeper. So you get an additional player. So these are the things. In fact, nowadays you can take off the goalkeeper.
Yeah.
So many things are coming out. As long as goalkeepers are staying, I'm happy.
But coming back to Australia, I think I'll put this question to Som. What is with India and Australia? I think we concede our maximum goals against them. 2010 Commonwealth Games final, maybe the last Commonwealth Games final. The test series we lost again. Are we overawed by their field presence, or is it something beyond really hockey?
If I knew that answer, I would have been the coach of the national team. But honestly, it's a very difficult question to answer. The style of playing of Australia is completely different from what a European team plays. So in the past, we were not very comfortable playing against both styles. Probably we were more comfortable playing against Asian style. Over the last 4 or 5 years, somehow we've been able to conquer that fear of playing European style game. So we're not worried about man-to-man marking. We play, we can manage their counter-attacks. But Australia, if you see in the first 15 minutes, they put so much pressure. They virtually push you off the ball. And every time they come into your circle, they're so sharp inside the D that within the first 10-15 minutes, they take a lead of a couple of goals, which then puts you back. So I think managing that, especially the initial aggression of the Australian team, probably one of the things that could be tried is a 70 press, which is not a full court press, but maybe 60-70 press where you ensure that you are putting them under considerable pressure, but you're not keeping a gap between your first line of defense and your last line of defense. So it gives them lesser space to play. Back in '83, we had a test series against Australia, and the first 2 matches were in Melbourne. And they had the likes of Rick Charlesworth, Terry Walsh, Colin Batch, the whole, probably better team than this Australian team. Mr. Balkishan was our coach, so he told us, you keep the ball in that half and don't play with a push. Because if you play with a push, the Aussies come close to you and with their body they nudge you off possession. So you play with the hit, at least in the first 10-15 minutes, keep the ball that side. And then they will come out and then you can count. We beat them 3-0.
Wow.
In a test match. And then in the second match, we beat them 2-1.
Wow.
Of course, they beat us in Perth in the 2 other matches. We drew the series. But if you don't change your style of playing and you continue to play like you're playing against an Asian team or a European team and try to play close possession, Aussies have a better chance to push you off the ball and they will attack you in the first 10-15 minutes and take a lead. And once that happens, you have to go out and play. So I think that these are a couple of things that come to my mind from my experience, and we need to. I think they did a very good thing by taking the team to Australia. Just I think in December. So we played 5 matches. We may have conceded 24 goals, but we scored 16 or thereabouts. Yeah, we scored about 15 goals. So it augurs well for our attacking play. to score 15-16 goals against an Australian team is very difficult. But conceding, we need to look at our defensive shape, especially in matches like Australia, because once you lose your shape, you completely are exposing yourself. There's a tendency of our team to play too much of attacking hockey, and in that process you tend to lose shape in defense. So I think that is one of the areas we need to look at, and I hope we meet Australia only in the final.
Thank you. From a captain's view, I'll get a goalkeeper's view on that same question. How tough is it to defend against these Aussies? Are they different material? What's it like?
As Somaya sir said, the first 10 minutes, in fact now in the new system, the first quarter, so 7 minutes, the first 7 minutes they finish, period. Number two, they never play to the scoreboard. They only play to the whistle. And as you all know what happened in 2010 Commonwealth Games, they were leading India in the finals 7-1, 7-0. Last 60 seconds. Any team in the world would have just given up their sticks and celebrated. Any team. They scored another goal. This is what Australia is all about. Now, individually, I've been around Jamie Dwyer in the PHL and all these events, but before that, while we used to, especially as Lansha, in a place like Malaysia, Kuala Lumpur, where it's humanly impossible to play one match, and you have Australia staying in the same hotel. After beating us or beating anybody, they would end up in the gym, while we would end up in the restaurant, dining hall to eat and to sleep. These are the changes that we have been adapting. I don't want to praise anyone individually, but the system has been changing, as Edgar is saying, as Somaya sir is saying, that the back end is so important, the recovery is so important. And we used to think like, why is Brent Livermore doing that? Like, abhi to jeet ke aaya, abhi aur kiska dega raat ko? These are the questions, but now when you look at it, the way we have information, we have access. I think every kid over here knows what's happening and who's the Indian team, because of information, because of YouTube. If you kind of change that and you adopt your own style, the only team, please correct me if I'm wrong, I think you all would have better knowledge about this. I think one of the only teams who could beat Australia any given day is Pakistan. Because Pakistan have a style of playing, as sir said, hit the ball, let them do the work, you tackle and then you counter. Pakistan is one of the only teams, as in one of the only Asian teams, who will always give Australia a hard time. No matter you're playing in juniors, seniors, tri-nation, series, and then when Pakistan plays the next team, they lose 6-0. So it's like Australia's only threat has been Pakistan, as in one of the Asian countries. What India need to do right now, as sir said, hopefully we meet them in the finals, we have to create opportunities. We might get 2 chances, but we need to score. We cannot miss. That's been one of the greatest faults of ours, or setbacks, that we would get like 4 chances in an Australian match, maybe in the first half or first quarter, and we would not score. They would get half a chance, half, not even full, and they would end up making it look like it's so easy. So it's going to be a tough ball, and the 5-match series that happened, 5 matches, right? In Australia, I think 4, yeah. And after scoring 15 goals, Akashdeep, I think that's been one of his reasons why he's made a comeback, because scoring a hat-trick, winning almost, I think he was the top scorer as a field goal player. That is very important for India. We cannot only depend on penalty corners. If we start creating chances with field goals, that World Cup will remain in India.
I'll put a final question to Soma about the Indian team, then we open the floor to questions. So we have a new captain in Harmanpreet Singh, also our main track flicker. You think it's a good opportunity for him to excel here, or would that added responsibility add pressure on him, since he's the only flicker for the team and a big tournament in your backyard?
Personally, I felt Manpreet had done a wonderful job as captain.
Yes.
I think he led from the front, though he's a midfield player. His style of playing used to motivate the team, and he did a wonderful job. But I think the selectors and the coach have done a good thing by giving Harmanpreet the responsibility. He's very cool, calm and composed on the field. He has all the attributes of a very good captain. And being slightly younger than Manpreet in age, he will get a lot of energy and enthusiasm as a captain. He has been voted the best player by FIH last time. He has top scored in most tournaments as in his short corners, in his drag flicks. I think out of the 4 or 5 best drag flickers in the world, one is of course Hendricks from Belgium. Alexander Hendricks, is he? Yeah, Alexander Hendricks. Then you have the Argentine who's playing for Germany now. There's Gonzalo Elliott, now plays, he's one of the good drag flickers. You have Blake Gowers from Australia. And you have another one from Germany. But out of the 5, I think he has been one of the most consistent. So having him as a leader of the team means a lot. It will be an inspiration for the others. And by him playing in the manner he does in such a cool and composed way, I think it will rub off on the other players. So though I was a little disappointed that Manpreet, though I have a soft corner for him being a midfielder, and he plays with a lot of heart. I think he's a wonderful player, but I think Harmanpreet...
He's an Olympic bronze winning captain as well, so...
Yeah, very successful captain in recent times. But I think getting Harmanpreet will infuse fresh energy, and his cool demeanor will rub off on the rest of the team.
Let's hope Manpreet is not disappointed at not being made captain. I hope that doesn't happen.
No, I think they are from the same establishment. You know, a lot of boys have come from those hostels in Punjab. There's academies in Punjab. They've all grown up together. They have mutual respect and great bonding. So I don't think so. He's had his good run. I think he will support Manpreet and Harmanpreet.
Thank you guys. On that note, I'd like to throw the floor open for a couple of questions maybe for our esteemed panelists. Peter, if you can. And finally, thank you very much guys, and just wishing the Indian team all the best for the World Cup.